this is what dating in VR is like.
Hi there, my name's Seal, and I'm joined here today by two of my best mates, Rickle and Buttercups.
Hello.
Where did you go? God, there he is.
That's the only one, right? You disappeared.
Anyway, as you can see, we're hanging out right now, and, well, if you don't know, me, Rick, and Haley only know each other through online means, and that's always begged the question for me, is it entirely healthy to interact regularly in an entirely online space? So that's what we're going to ask the people of VRChat today. Welcome to One Question Go. Off into the world of VRChat, I guess, with this motherfucker.
McDonald's every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you ask if being in VR as a socialization is healthy or not. Like,
Let's just cut the camera.
Why is there a massive cult?
Oh god.
Hello there, we're not a cult. We're actually people a part of a German military roleplay group called the NBA.
Are you at active war with the British version?
No.
No, the Russian
we're
ones
not.
we are, though.
The Russian ones. Right.
This is the closest thing to a Gmod RP server.
Event days is
Yeah.
literally like a Gmod RP server because people will be screaming RDM because you accidentally shut.
We're doing a survey right now, and basically it's just one question. You can answer it however you like. Would you guys be willing to provide your answers?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
What questions those are?
Do you think it's healthy to interact in an entirely online space regularly?
Well, for me, it's kind of taught me how to interact with people in life. You know, you figure out what to say and what not to say. It's kind of like hard. It's a hard knocks or more of a, or like less of a blow in VR if you fuck up in a conversation than in real life. So it's kind of like a trial run of talking with someone. You learn what to say and what not to say, so you don't get your ass beat in the middle of the street.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's an entirely fair answer.
I 100% agree with that. I do feel that it's healthy somewhat because you do meet a lot of people here that do help you with some like actual social skills that you can use and incorporate into your regular life. But it goes to a certain extent where you do meet a lot of people on here who just say whatever, and then it makes everyone think that it's okay to say in
Lack
their
of
daily
social
lives,
consequences.
which also yes, and it also affects them in a negative way if they say something and like everyone else doesn't think that it's okay, but they thought that it was okay because everyone around them online was saying it and wasn't getting any consequences for it.
Would you say it's definitely easier to sort of interact with people that you want to interact with here than it is in real life? Because it's, you know, quite limiting.
It kind of depends on the person. I mean, some people have really bad social anxiety. Like people who are mute online may also be mute in real life. Like I have a few friends that are mute online and in real life because they just have that social anxiety that they don't want to say something that upsets someone, or they don't want to do something that upsets someone. So they're very like kept to themselves. So again, that kind of depends on the person.
We've come up here and we've spoken to you. You're here doing this recruitment run, which probably takes quite a bit of confidence to ask random passers-by to do stuff. I mean, typically in real life, whenever people try and hand me leaflets, I tell them to go away. But, you know, in a place like this, I'm less likely to do that, I'd say. But, yeah, no. Thank you guys for your answers. Duke Nukem, do you think it's healthy to interact regularly in an online space?
I actually, maybe, no, not, maybe not regularly, but in moderation. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah.
the voice, I'm sorry.
So good, I love that.
Hey, you don't gotta distract me while I'm answering a question. That's hot.
God, I can kiss those lips.
Maybe I might.
I come over there and shove my tongue down your mouth.
Hey, you're welcome anytime.
You want this rabbit ussy? You got him great character. You got him a great character.
You killed him. You
went too far.
Yo, that was my son. I will now show my son. Hey, it's me, Teenage Duke Nukem. What's up? My balls still haven't dropped yet.
Hello, MTV. Welcome to my crib.
You don't live here, bitch. You homeless.
I'm an alcoholic.
Oh, actually, okay, about this. Okay. No, so I have some input in this. I'm a netizen. So for context, I'm an expatriate. I've grown up moving around countries constantly. Because of that, that means I've lived in the following places: Malaysia, Singapore, Dubai, Australia, England, Scotland, and I've been to foreign places in that as well. Because that means that schools I'm in constantly changes. Workplaces I'm in constantly changes. I've lived in 15 different places in real life. Houses, that is, right? Friend groups. People come and go. Yeah, right. So because of that, online spaces, the people I meet in online spaces are persistent because I can move to different countries and the same people are still the same places. The places I might visit in real life, in online life, are the same no matter what country I go to. Whereas I'm living in Singapore, once I move 2 years later, that's gone. Those people, gone. Places I've grown up, gone. So in that context, yes, it does actually have a healthy grounding that would normally, because your point is valid here. It's good to have a sense of grounding of normalcy in some capacity, right, in your life when you kind of grow up and forming your basis, right, of who you are. If as someone is deprived of that because of circumstances, like myself, absolutely, like a netizen. But in other cases, it's good to have a healthier balance. So yeah, there's a point where I think you're going with this that does stand to reason. But there are circumstances that could change that. But as also the online world develops, we are going to see society kind of move more to a hybrid kind of setup where we have kind of like, the real world and the online space kind of merge in many ways, which is already kind of happening, like AR, VR and whatnot. And that capacity, we can't really make the distinction between online and real space because at that point they kind of merge into the same kind of thing. So separating them out is kind of a dated analogy that is relevant to the past, but not really so much these days, but that's still kind of in transition.
Would you say that like VRChat specifically as well, it's definitely more of an extension of real life than most other chat rooms?
No, VRChat does not meet the requirements for Metaverse. VRChat is a system where you have instances that are persistent. I can't create new objects. We can't modify the environment around us. It's there's no persistence to it. When you go down your local, you're Australian, right? I believe
no, I'm
accent.
from the UK.
You go down the local. UK, okay. Say you go to Tesco's, right? I'm UK myself too, right? You go down to Tesco's. That Tesco's is Tesco's. Someone else in your town goes to Tesco's too. It's the same Tesco's. You don't go to two different parallel versions of Tesco's, right?
Yeah, so
because
like
of that, there's a sense of persistence that exists in the real world. Yes, there are metaverses as defined by the IEEE. There is a capacity for a persistent metaverse, a persistence or object permanence, as you put it, right? Codified in older standards of the metaverse. For example, older things that were from the Hypergrid protocol developed by IBM originally, which is actually the one that Second Life does use, by the way, but it's a proprietary version of it. What we have now these days in terms of VRChat is not a metaverse. It is a chat program that you can create instances that can hold up to say 40 people, whatever, depending on the map you're loading, like a CSGO server almost. But it is not the same thing as a metaverse.
Okay.
Likewise, the same can be said for Roblox, same can be said for Minecraft, yada, yada, yada.
Thank you very much for your answer. You were so on the ball with that one. Damn.
Happy to.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Computer scientist, game designer, expatriate, netizen. It's an area I have quite a basis in already, so I'm happy to contribute.
Yeah, because like obviously
Awesome.
we've been like asking people. We've asked like how many now? This is only
2.
Yeah, we were so
3?
Previously we were talking to
5.
Yeah, we were talking to another guy about it, and like obviously when it comes to social interaction online, my personal obviously opinion is just having a healthy balance between things. Yeah, everything in moderation.
I'd agree. Currently, I would agree, but that can change in the future. But right now I would agree. But I don't say so much about separation. I'd say there is a healthy move towards blending the two together. But I'd say that's still a transient state that society is in, and it's important to keep that in mind in our own healthy
is still
states.
being developed, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yes,
fair
absolutely.
enough.
We shouldn't pretend it's already there, and we should keep ourselves in healthy balance, obviously.
Yeah, like obviously VRChat was a very big help for me, especially during COVID, because obviously I didn't want to lose how to speak to people properly. We were talking to another guy about it, and he had a completely different sort of he had a separation between the virtual world and something else. He had a very unique case.
That can be dangerous. Some people do that.
It was a difficult situation for him because something happened. Well, Rick here asked him, do you think it was like toxic for you to have that mindset or like have that escapism and believe that, you know, you wanted to be in this world over your own one, so on and so forth? And he recognized it as, yes, it was bad.
Well, that's not so much to do with VRChat or the metaverse. That's more to do with avoidance and anxiety, which is quite common in humans. So what you're talking about there, the escapism mechanism, that's a common aspect of a cluster type B personality, which is anxiety, avoidance, and obsessive compulsive disorder, as well as dependency disorder. Those four those intersecting personality types do in turn tend to manifest in seeking escapism or avoidance, and virtual worlds can often be a very accessible method to do that. But that's not so much an issue with the virtual platform itself. That's more about mental health awareness, and it's why it's important to do education to raise awareness of mental health about these kinds of things.
God, I've always thought about it, right? Imagine if they raised someone entirely only socially, like bringing them up through online means, that sort of thing, because I wonder how bad or okay they would be afterwards. But obviously human experimentation is not a thing anymore. We should not do that. That is inhumane.
Not that justifies.
All the psychology, let's be honest about that. Remember the prison studies, remember those ones?
Oh God, yeah.
Prison experiments done in psychology?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been an expat since I've been 7 years old, so I've done a lot of online interaction compared to real life interaction. Not to say I reject real life interaction, absolutely not. But like I said before, persistence and continuity of relationships is something that's more common for me in online spaces rather than real life spaces, because I've spent a lot of my life living in the second world and the third world. These spaces are naturally, we can't compare them to the first world, obviously. Basically, for me, it's more a case of that the real world and the online space is an amalgamation of it. Like the online space is just as much a space as real life space, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it breathes into each other.
In real life and in online spaces. Yes. Yeah.
What the?
Just much in both directions, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, the way that I act in real life has directly affected the way that I act here. The way that I act here has directly, had an impact on the way that I interact in real life as well.
But I am not a common use case, so it is important to consider that as well. Like other people that are not in that situation, it may be very different in how that might manifest. As a netizen who's had that circumstances as an expatriate and whatnot, it's going to be a bit different. But yeah, basically.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your answer, Bumbox. You've been absolutely
fantastic answers.
I enjoy discussion about this kind of stuff. I enjoy complex discussion, so I'm happy to help and I'm happy to contribute.
Thank you all very much for watching. And remember, if you like what you saw, remember to click like down below and also leave a comment and, input your thoughts, because this is a massive conversation and I believe that it's actually quite relevant today, especially since COVID happened and other such things with online connections becoming a lot more normal. I hope you guys stay safe and take care, and I will hopefully see you in the next upload. Ta-ta.